Alright, so we're going to install the Can-Am snorkel kit on the 2021 Commander Max XT. And main reason I'm doing this is I got water in my belt box the last time I went riding. And I'm not doing this so I can, go in the mud and go deep and do all that. I go in the mud because usually I have to. We ride in Kentucky, so it's always muddy. And a lot of places you can't get around the mud holes, so you got to go through them. But the last time I went out, I got rather deep mud hole, but it wasn't like crazy deep. But the problem is, so your intakes are way up here, and your intake for your air are right there. So this is your exhaust for your CV box right here. And it's right here. So if you get in water to here, or if you get in water to where you're spinning your tars, you spin your tars bad enough to where it throws it that way, it will fill your CV box. CV box. But that's the main reason for the snorkels, is just this one hose right here to get it up and out of the way. I've already took the bed off just to make this easier. I think I did a video the other day of that, and I'll try to add it to this, but it's mainly 4 bolts to get your pivots off, and then you unhook your cylinder with a little pin, and you got to pop your brake lights off. But here's what your kit's going to look like. I'm using the bed for a table. It's everything that it comes with. And this is your kit number. Let's see if I can. Where is kids at? And with most of the OEM kits, you can go and get their instructions at instructions.brp.com. And this kit actually comes with pretty decent instructions. I've glanced at them, and they seem to be a little more detailed than some of the other ones that I've seen from them. So hopefully it ain't going to be that big of a deal. I think I've got to reuse some of the clamps off of the factory kit, but I'm not real for sure what the bigger bolts here are for. There's a couple really big bolts in there. I guess see when I get that far along. But I'm going to start taking the old stuff off. Should be pretty easy. You take these bolts off, pull these off, because there's a block off plate that goes here. Take hoses off. We'll see how it goes. Alright, so you got to take your bolts out of your little vents here. These are T27s. I've got all kinds of torque wrenches or torque sockets, but I do not have a 27. I've got a screwdriver, or you can use a 5/32 Allen, which fits them good enough to get them out, because these are not in there tight, they're just in plastic. So I'm going to try to set y'all there, so hopefully you can see everything and move a lot. Try to run through this real quick, that way this video don't end up being real long. I don't really like doing the speed laps, just because I have to try to find some type of music to put in the background. I don't know if So them were a little bit harder to get to than I was expecting. Right down here. The one there, and then that one down there is kind of back at an awkward spot. But I'll get them loose and then come back. So got those loose. It was a little more difficult than I was expecting it. They're at an odd angle, so you kind of have to pull different. Now let's see how hard they want to be to pop off. Another push pin I didn't see. Stuff is out, and there's 4 push pins, which I didn't realize was there. 2 of them's back here in the back, one there and one there. Thought it was just the one. I think it only uses one whenever you go back with the new stuff. I may be wrong about that, but see when I get there. Alright, so I think you can pull these out of here. There's no reason for them to be in there. And then you pop in plugs. The same thing over here. You can pull that off and then pop in a plug. And it ain't gonna hurt nothing to leave them in there. But I'm thinking about running my accessory fuse block up in one of these areas, just to get it out of the way and not have to have it under my seat. So, we'll see. Be back here shortly. Alright. I took the little covers out and put the plugs in, these plastic plugs. The instructions shows you popping them in from inside, like the motor area, popping them this way. I put them in this way just for the fact I feel like if they was to fall out, they would fall back the opposite way of the way you put them in. So at least if they got knocked out, they'd be contained in this area and you wouldn't lose them. And that's my way of thinking. I have been wrong before, so these here, there are 2 different grooves on them, so these here catch in the lower lips. But I feel like if they was going to fall out, they would fall in. So that's how I put them in, and we won't lose them. But I did take the little covers that was in there out. See no reason to run that. But now, I just pop off. There's normally a little plastic piece here that's like a normal drain if there's water going in your air box. But now, you put on a solid plug with this little twist clamp. That way no water can be pushed back up there. I hope to never have this deep enough for that to be an issue, but I'll go ahead and put it on. You never know. I'm going to do that. I'm going to put the covers on and then start figuring out which pipes go with each other. Alright, so I got the side covers on. Moved on to, oh well, I guess I could say also put the plug on the air box. So note to self, take the end of your air box off. It's just 3 snaps. Unsnap it, pull it off, and put that on, because that little thing, it don't really need the clamp. It is tight. Much easier to do outside of the machine than it is to try to do it in there. Now moving on to the air intake. So on the air intake, you got 2 options. Let's see if I can find it here. So your inlet hose is either for a 800 or 1000, or you got an inlet hose for a 1000R. So they tell you the part numbers are a P6 and a P7. So these are the 2 parts, and the easiest way to figure that out is to go by your key instructions, find your P6 and your P7, and it gives you the part number for them. Well, on each part there is a stamped number, and it's the stamped part number. So I'm on the 1000R, so I need the one that ends with 791. So right there, 791. I'll be using that one. This one, don't need it. So, using that, and then I believe it should be this cap. And then they should have one of their clamps for here, and then one of the clamps that came off the old piping for down here. So, move on with that. Alright, so moving forward. Got this tube in, got everything tight. I will say that it's a pain in the hind end to get on down there. It might be easier to go ahead and take your access panel out and do it, because I think you've got to take it out later anyway to get to a hose. But also, this clamp right here, I had to buy. Actually, bought a few of them, but they don't send one with the kit, and then they don't have one that's off of your original stuff that'll fit it. I think that's a 32 to like 83 millimeter. Didn't really, I could have probably went with a smaller one, but so I had to get that. And then they have you assemble. Alright, battery went off for a second. They have you assemble the other pipes and not put them in yet. But so this is a new clamp. This is an old clamp. And that's an old clamp, I'll be honest. It barely tightened up before it was too small. But the clamps I bought are too wide to go there, so I made it work. That, and also on the 21 and up 1000R models, you end up using the shorter of the two, or maybe it's the longer of the two, so maybe telling you wrong. So this is the one you don't use. Yeah, it's the shorter of the tubes. So it's the shorter of the two options they give you. Like I said, you can go by their part numbers that they have stamped on them to see. One good thing about this kit, I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but everything when it goes together, you have alignment marks, and then you have places on the side to show you how far to push them up. So that's where we're at. We'll move forward and see what we do next. Alright, so I got that cluster of pipes together. So these two clamps, that clamps through this clamp runs through this to hold all this together. Those two clamps you'll have to get. So the bigger one's a 44/95, and then the little one's the same size as the one I told you had to get earlier. So you'll need at least two of those. This is all clamped together. Another good thing, so when you put these in, they have alignment too. So they've got marks where your clamp goes, and then they've got a little mark. I don't know if we can see it. So right there, there's a little mark that sits in the groove on this rubber, on this. So it's pretty nice. That way you know you're in the right spot. But now, I'm going to try to put that in over there. I want to see how that goes, because it seems like there's quite a bit of stuff that has to line up there. Alright, so moved a few steps ahead here. But that cluster of pipes, it's best to go push the bottom in and then bring the tops up. You gotta make sure the tops, when you push them up, they snap. I've got this little lip that hooks onto the plastic so they can't be pulled back down. Put them in there, put the clamps on. Got the clamp back there and the one here. Put those in. Left these loose until I got them in, and then I tighten this one up with a ratchet, and I can get to the back side of that one with a screwdriver. And there is a push pin that comes in your kit. It's right back in here. I was able to stick my arm around the back and pop it in. Yeah, then you do it's the water pump tube. So it's easiest, you got an access in the back. Mine's a 4-seater, so my back seats don't move forward. So I took one of the seat frames out because it's come out. I've had this out before whenever I done the heater. You splice in hose for the heater, but I done it without pulling the seat bracket out, and it's a pain to get slid in and out. So it's just easier to take 4 13mm bolts out. 2 in the front have bolts or nuts on the bottom, the 2 in the back just unscrew. And then what you're looking for is, let's get the flashlight. So right there, you have a little drain line that comes out of the bottom of your water pump. And what that's for is pretty much if your water pump starts leaking seals or anything, it lets the water go out. That way you don't build pressure on the other side of your water pump. So they want you to run head up and out. I'm assuming that way you don't end up getting mud up into it and clogging that side of your water pump, or you get sand in there and it'll wear that seal more. So I brought it out through here and up, zip tied it away from the motor. And then you bring it up. It comes up right here, and then you put it right there. On the, I think, 19 and newers, you just push it on there. This here just has a slit in it, that way it can leak out if it was to. If you ever see coolant in this, you've got an issue with your water pump. This shouldn't ever have anything in it. If it's got coolant in it, then your water pump's got a seal going out or something going on with it. And then after that, you got to put your fuel lines together. So you reuse some of your old hose because they don't give you enough of the new hose. And here, so they give you all your measurements you got to cut in millimeter. I don't have a millimeter tape measure, so I just converted all of them over to inches. That way I knew what I would be needing. Light's a little rough. That way if you want to see what we got there. And I just laid my tape out, laid my hose out, took a razor blade and cut it where I needed. So here's how the hose is going to look. So this filter is already on your original hose when you take it off. It's got an arrow on it. That arrow needs to be going toward the gas tank. This check valve, white on the right hand side next to the filter, black on the left hand side, one into your Y. Then your Y, you come up to this check valve with an arrow going out. So the best way, turn that light off, I can tell you to do this. Once it's done, the side that goes into your tank, you should be able to blow air through it and suck air through it. So when you suck air through, it comes through your filter side into the tank. When you blow air through, it goes through this side, which will be going over into the frame like your original one did. But you need to make sure that works that way. If not, you'll end up vapor locking your motor, because gas tank's got to breathe both ways. Alright, I'm going to get that one put in and routed, and I'll come back and show you how it's routed. Alright, so the gas line's in. I routed it a little different than the picture shows. So this is the one that pushes air out whenever you're like putting gas in, or whenever it heats up and the tank expands, so it'll push your vapors down into your frame. And then you pop this one on up here with the filter and the check valve that lets it pull air as you're using gas. And the instructions, they show running this up here and bringing it way over. If you run it up here, this Y sets funny and makes a odd loop. So I just run it straight down where everything looked good, went down, and then brought it through and plugged it in. Got better on the white piece. But now, I did cut some of it off, because I'm guessing they had allowed the rail way over here. Now this kit also does some of the older ones. So on that one, this one I ended up cutting some off. That, then I'm done put the tops on. So I give you a bolt kit. This centerpiece, do hit first. It comes in from the back. That's 2 little bolts. Then you have a bolt and a nut here, and then a little like just screw in the back. To be honest, I don't know how good the screw's gonna hold, because it just screws into a thin piece of plastic. And then your vents pop in. Pay attention to your vents, because I put them in backwards to start with. So they've got these little recesses in them for the lips to hold. So make sure you put them. And then I used a little silicone spray on all my tubes just to get those on because they did not want to slide down easy. Then you have clamps. Pay attention to your clamps because they're different sizes. They're a little hard to get popped over, but once they're over, they're fine. And I put my screws that tightens them up in the back, and then just used a real long extension. If you don't have a back Lexan or some type of a window there, you'd be able to get to them easier. I just done that so you don't see them. But that's pretty much it. There you go. That's what you got. A lot to find. I've seen them on other ones, but I don't know where they're getting them at. They make outer wire covers that you can put over your snorkels. That way to get some of the dust. Keep the dust from going straight in. So I'm going to try to figure out where to get them at. If I find out, I'll post it up. Or if one of y'all know, post it up. That should be it. I'm going to put the bed back on and see what she looks like.
Yeah. We finished this all tonight.
Yep, we did finish it all tonight, didn't we? I didn't mention. So these bolts come in the kit. I have no idea where they go. Instructions don't say anything about them. I do know that the California models have a charcoal canister somewhere. So I don't know if this is something to do with that, because the instructions I got don't show none of that. But extra bolts to throw in a bucket, I reckon. So there it is. All said and done. Snorkels on. Pretty good. Still up in the bed with no problem. I think you can still see out alright. I have to move my cautions on. That's about the rear view. That would be about the rear view mirror look. That's it. Yeah, there we go. So a little update on the outer wires, or the pre-filters, whatever you can call them. So I found them. Hopefully it zooms in. If it's not, it's 715005598. That kit should fit on this, and it's actually from BRV. It's a little pricey, but I got it from Partzilla for I think $105 for the two. But we're going to throw them on there. I didn't like the idea of how open they are, just for spraying off reasons. I like to have something to kind of lock the water down to keep it from going straight in. But got them. I'm going to throw them on real quick. See what they look like. Alright, they're both on. To be honest, that was a little more of a struggle than I was expecting. That might be a bad idea if you had them to put them on before you did your clamps. If you got the window in. So if that window wasn't there, it wouldn't be a pretty easy job. It's hard to get back there to pull the Velcro across itself. Alright, that's it.